All righty, there we go. Guys, welcome to this week's version of Late with Lussetto. We got a little circus going on. We're struggling. Dale is having a little trouble trying to get on. We were helping him with that, or I should say Dan was helping him with that, and I was just flat late. So we'll keep going while Dale efforts to get on here, and if we can't get him on, we'll work to get him on next week and finish this up, because Dale, I'm very interested to get with Dale and learn a little more about him and a lot of the stuff he's done. He's got quite a history in pulling, and I'm excited for the chat and all the stuff he's done. Been a very good announcer for us. But I guess now, Dan, we might just roll into some of the banquet stuff. And also, we have kind of a rough issue in the works right now with safety equipment. We knew it was coming, but it's kind of rearing its head, and we need to get some information out there. Our insurance company is requiring us to have current certifications on bell housings and it looks like right now, unless anything changes, that we're going to have a 2-year certification on bell housings. On top of that, our bell housings will have to have a 6.3 SFI certification, which a lot of the QuickTime and the Lakewoods and the ones without a liner will not suffice. On the surface, doesn't sound like that big of a deal, but what I ran into an issue with is a lot of these bell housings are made for drop box and reversers. This is really probably more specifically with pro stock pickups and our 2-wheel drive naturally aspirated trucks. And there's one company that I've found so far, I believe Browell, that will build a can to house the centered iron style, like Ace style, McLeod style clutches, and also for a other transmission. The other thing that's a killer, a lot of the old ones, they'll recertify them in this, but if they're altered, they won't pass the 2-year certification. So we've got a heck of a crossroads. One issue too, we were told about it last year at our meeting in Missouri with the national group, and typical me, probably as well as other people, we kind of pushed it off, and all of a sudden it's here. So I'm gonna try to have as much information I can have at the banquet. I see Dwayne had a comment here. Can we put a blanket over the bell housing? No, I don't know right now. It is up in the air. Pickup wise, it's not looking good. Tractor wise, I don't see any reason why we can't, but I am running that up the flagpole. Our first insurance company guy that I talked to really had no interest in bending anything, or, and I'm not saying we need to bend the rules, but it just was what it was. So we're gonna, we're efforting, we're working on it to see what we can find, but this is going to be potentially kind of a rough deal. As far as the fire suits, no, most of our fire suits are, a single layer, and that all that should be plumb fine. Dwayne asked if we can do anything other. And Dwayne, this is exactly what we're going to have to try to figure out in the next week or two, because, a lot of guys are running Lakewoods. The sad thing is, Holly, who now owns Lakewood and QuickTime, more than willing to certify them as long as they have not been altered. But the problem is with our insurance company. Oh goodness, our insurance company may not. The 6-1 certification may not be good enough. We may have just got Dale on here. I'm going to try to see if I can get him on board, Dan.
Okay. Hey, there he is.
Dale, how are you?
Guys.
So
I think you found out I'm okay at announcing, but I don't understand this video stuff.
Well, I hope you don't think that we're pros at this, because we are not. I mean, I mean,
No.
Dan's fancy enough. He puts his competitors up behind him there and stuff. You know, me, I've got a wall, you know. I can't say I'm real good at this either. So
Yeah, I had to switch browsers, then it works.
Okay, good.
are you on with your phone then, Dale?
Yeah, I'm on my phone.
Okay.
Believe it or
Okay.
not, I don't have internet in my house.
Okay.
A lot of teachers don't, and I just never have gotten back and put it in.
Sure, sure. So just kind of a quick introduction. Dale Bartels has been, for us, for the Heartland region, has been announcing a handful of events over the last couple of years where we ran into him. I know this is not your first rodeo. Tell us a little history about how you got started announcing tractor pulls.
Well, when I started teaching, I started introducing like basketball and volleyball, you know, and running the clocks for that. And people thought I was pretty good at it. And I had done some radio in my younger days. And then, believe it or not, I started with demolition derbies.
Okay.
And my very first one, I announced through a fire truck, through the microphone and the sound system on the fire truck, and went from there. And then when I moved to Chester, right away they asked me, have you ever done tractor pulls? And that was 35 years ago, and I've gone from that.
35 years. Holy smokes. And was Chester
Done a lot of pulls.
Like a farm pull then?
Started out with pretty much antique pulls only.
Okay.
Got back to, you know, I grew up loving tractor pulls, and, you know, when you go away to college, you kind of get away from that. At least I did. And then that got me back into it again.
Where, Dale, where did you grow up at then?
I'm from Pipestone, Minnesota.
Okay.
And Pipestone County Fair, you know, I remember going to that with my dad would take us, and we'd sit in the great big WPA grandstand, kind of similar to like West Point's old grandstand or Lehigh. You know, there's a lot of the old WPAs around Pipestone, then one of those. And I just fell in love with it. And that was back, jump on sled, stakes in the ground, measure with strings. And my dad always, you boys be good. And then he'd go down and jump on the sled. I always thought that was pretty cool.
I'll be
And
darned.
then they got hotter and hotter and hotter. And then Pipestone became kind of a little hotbed of trying to outdo each other. You know, it was a run what you brung and hope you brought enough pulls, like the early 70 Bush pulls were. And then a guy by the name of Eddie Olson showed up with a 1066 with multiple turbos. And then the game was on.
That was a game changer. Yeah.
That was the game changer.
I'll be darned. Any ballpark idea what year that might have been?
Be about 1975, 74.
Okay.
Early, you know, right towards, you know, the names, Niemeyers, Dreesens, Paulie Nelson with his Oliver 1850s, DeJagers. I mean, there was Ronnie Rainier and Darrell Rainier. Burks would bring in modifieds, early modifieds. You know, most of those guys, either they or their families still pull. It's amazing.
Yeah, see, a few years ago, I went up and I actually had my sled for 2 years. I was up in Canby, Minnesota.
So you know the Rainiers.
Oh, yeah, and actually the Rainiers, they used to pull, you know, Ronnie used to pull like the national circuit, and we got around where we pulled against him, you know, in the 80s for sure.
They still pull NTPA with Minnesota United.
At UPM, yeah, and I think they've got it's very similar to our light limited pro. It's got just slightly different rules and 20.8s, and yeah. And is it Megan, the daughter, or
Megan's got a tractor called Contraption.
I haven't seen it out for a few years, but she was a character.
She's kind of doing the college thing too. You know, it goes away for a while and then she'll be back.
Well, see,
it's in her heredity.
I do believe that was Daryl's daughter, and I think Ronnie actually leased her a place, and she got started farming on her own.
I think you're right.
her own cows and everything. She was like I said, she was a character. She showed up to Lamar's, Iowa by herself, rolled down the semi, everything. I thought that was pretty impressive for 20, at that time she might have been a 20, 21-year-old girl.
My first exposure was big time pulling, and I'm one of the people that can actually say I went to Farm Fest in Lake Crystal, Minnesota in 1976. The United States Championship pull. And all I can remember, I was 17 years old. I remember how muddy it was. It was so muddy. And really the only tractor I can remember is a Minneapolis Marine called Solid Junk.
Oh, man.
That one stuck out to me because I couldn't believe it went down the track.
Stangl and Perry.
Yes.
On Perry. Yep. And do you know my dad was there?
Was he really?
Yep. He pulled at Farm Fest. That's what I was going to get to say. If you were there, you were muddy. I still, I've got some pictures on my Facebook page of just, it was mess. People
were losing their shoes everywhere. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. That's believable. I mean, again, I was not old enough. I was 3 years old at the time. I got you covered by a little bit. Yeah, I didn't exactly make that trip, but it was amazing looking back and seeing the pictures and the stories. That was something else. How far away was Lake Crystal from like where you?
Lake Crystal about 2 hours.
Really? Okay.
It could have been really something, but the weather that year, they went bankrupt. I mean, they lost everything they had. But they paid the pullers.
I know a handful of pullers that checks were bouncing and all kinds. But I mean, that's that's just a rough deal. And they stuck themselves out in the wind there, and Mother Nature took care of them. It's too bad.
I can't remember hardly anybody else. I know there was like 4 engine tractors there and stuff, but I just can't. I might have had 1 or 2 too many beers too, but I just can't remember all the specifics, but except for Solid Junk.
Yeah. Well, that was a very memorable tractor, and absolutely. So then I understand that you, what did you teach in school?
I taught ag and FFA.
Okay.
And coached. For a while, I coached, I'd go football, basketball, track, and coached all 3 sports, and then managed American Legion baseball in the summertime. So I was like a 4-sport coach for a while.
Wow.
You didn't.
And then as I got older, I started dropping sports, and I coached track all the way for 32 years before I retired. But I dropped the other ones off along the way.
Yeah.
And as I dropped those off, I did more and more tractor pulls.
Sure. And then you moved from Pipestone to Chester. Is that correct?
Yeah, I went in between was Bridgewater, South Dakota for 7 years first.
Okay.
But that was a demo derby area over there. You get Pipestone, Emory, Salem. They're more into the demo derby stuff. Turner County Fair at Parker. And those are big demo derby areas.
Yeah.
It's weird how that, we see that in pulling too. You go to some pulls are pickup pulls. And then other pulls, there's not a pickup there.
Yeah. No, it's amazing how regional regional's it's not what I mean by that, but there's little pockets of different classes like that, it's pretty crazy. It's just like run up to Badger State and they got a little pocket in their state group and they got like 10 big time pro stocks, it's just, things are just kind of segmented, so to speak.
Yeah. It's what they grow up with, what they like.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And what people are willing to promote too. Because it always takes that promoter to, take a chance.
Takes guys like you too. And then we won't even talk about Dan. Dan, you amaze me.
Why is that?
Because Heartland is broke up into East and West. You don't care. You go to all of them.
I love tractor pulling.
Well, I think I'm going to go to Wisconsin. Okay, and away you go.
Yeah, I love tractor pulling.
I envy that a little bit.
No, thank you.
I could follow you. I mean, it's all pretty much all I do, so I could do it. But
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a few miles this year put on. So
did you add it up yet?
I did. It. I don't have my piece of paper, but it's over 10,000. I know that.
And
Just the Wisconsin trip was 2,000 miles. So
mine was closer to 4, I think.
Yeah.
And he's getting ready to embark on another big trip here in a couple of weeks. So it's not done yet.
Yeah, you guys going to Arizona, I suppose.
Yes. Yep.
Yes, sir.
Do you really pull down there, or you just go?
Oh no.
No.
I'll tell you
They
what.
got a good track down there and everything.
Last year in the spring, that track come around to where, we run into sometimes getting off the beaten path that we struggle to get a track that we can put a good show on. But that track there, it's interesting in that vicinity. They have issues like they had to screed all the dirt and get the rocks out of it. That was one of the biggest issues of trying to find halfway, somewhat clay-ish soil.
Otherwise, your tires just get torn to pieces.
Yeah. So, but those guys have went. David Mink and Rod Crawford have went to immense amount of work, and it's really starting to pay off and come around.
Yeah, it's a good hooking track. I mean, it put my nose in the air anyway, and I had everything up front.
Not terribly
Your
hard.
nose is always in the air, though.
Yeah, well, I guess I did have my single cut tires down there, so yeah. But no, it's really getting to be a good track. They've done a hell of a job with it. They really have. They've got something going there. Now, if we can just get some guys to travel down there and really see what it's like, I think word of mouth would travel fast, and I think it would be a good event late season and early spring to go to.
Yeah, it's been a fun event. I thoroughly enjoyed it last year.
Well, good. Everybody should make road trips sometime, right?
Yeah, and that pulling in Chandler, that was, those people there were crazy.
That was a different crowd. We Dale, we had diesel pickups backed up to the chain link fence beside the racetrack, and it was a different environment, and not a bad environment. It was just absolutely a different crowd. They had not been exposed to pulling a bit. And, we ran through some econo mods and stuff. And I think I don't remember if it was you, Dan, or Dave was the first bigger diesel tractor. I think there was a few jaws on the ground because they were not expecting what they got.
No, they weren't. And from the minute we pulled our stuff out of our trailers or whatever, I mean, the people were right there. I mean, you couldn't get nothing done. They were asking questions, and it was cool. I was worried that once the drag races and the truck show and all that got over, I was worried we wouldn't have a crowd, but my God, them people were crazy.
And they were into it.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
That's what I like about working Heartland shows. You guys as polls, it's such a variety. It's like people come to our polls and they don't really know what they're going to see because it's mostly Nebraska and some Iowa guys and then the way West guys, and they don't know what they're going to get. And all of a sudden, here's like 8 classes of quality pulling machinery all in one promotion. That I think it's really neat.
Well, and we get to open up some areas that may not have had pulls for a long time, or maybe the Fair Board's trying it for the first time and, ever. So, I mean, that's also kind of neat to where, if you really look at like the main outlaw events, when you start talking $40,000, $50,000 events, while guys are taking risks, it's not first timers. I mean, you're going to make sure the ducks are in a row or you're going to get hurt, and our deal is kind of where, we've opened up some venues, just like some of our stuff. And I know you haven't been out West, but like Douglas, Wyoming, holy cow, we hadn't had a pull there since the 80s. It's interesting to get in those outlying areas or the places that haven't had pulls, because it's pretty new experience for a lot of the people.
Yeah, I helped run the Madison Outlaw Pull up here, and wow, when you start looking at the money you're putting out, it's scary.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And Madison's turned into quite a pull. So I guess that begs that question. How did you get involved with with that Madison pull?
I I've been the tractor pull announcer there for at least 20 years. You know, and I supplement the sound system there with some of my own equipment. So it's like a hodgepodge of equipment, and I'm just there. And like this year, Outlaws wanted me to announce the Nebraska State Fair this year, the next day, where Heartland had one of the tracks and Outlaws had the other track. And I'd tell Kurt, no, I've got an antique pull at Prairie Village in Madison that day. I'm sorry. So,
but you know, for the people that maybe have not been there, that Prairie Village, it's
a destination pull.
Yeah,
it's a one day destination pull, but you can come and watch threshing, silage cutting, corn shelling, antique sawmill, and all the same day. Great, one of the biggest vendor areas that you'll ever see. You can buy parts for antique tractors or antique trucks, and it's just a destination to go to. And it's one price to get in. We just charge at the gate. Tractor pull's free.
I'll be darned. I was amazed at all the, like even the old building displays. And I mean, I think you could spend a day or two. You know, I've only been there the one time, and Dan, if you'll believe this, I was late.
You were behind.
He was there. Greg was there last year when Randolph got rained out.
Yep.
Yeah, we were on I-20. I was just
about five of you guys came jetting up the highway and helped us. You added to our pull.
But Dale, the problem was when they kind of decided to pull the plug, we were in Omaha. We did not take the most direct route.
No.
So we were hustling to get up there. But
we were glad to see you show up.
Amazing to see all the stuff, you know, and we didn't get to see a tiny bit of it, I'm sure.
No.
Boy, this last year was a good show. I think we ended up with 68 hooks, and we did it in less than 4 hours. And Kurt kind of said, next year we're going to have to cut a little bit out of that show. Okay. Good luck with that.
And the venue for the poll is pretty cool because, I mean, you are up close and personal with the fans. I mean, it is like everybody's right there in a pile.
To be honest with you, we raised the guard railing this year because we had the feeling we were a little bit too up close and personal. So we took a loader out and lifted them all up. But there's not a place where you get closer to one track. And the pullers love it too. They feel like they're going down a tunnel at 30 miles an hour. It's just solid. You know, there's probably 7,500 people along both sides of the track, and you're jetting through that tunnel of people, and they like that sensation.
Yep.
Yeah. No, it was pretty cool. So, do you guys have any other plans with the Prairie Village or any new stuff for next year?
I'm glad you asked that because I'm gonna put a new sound system in. I and couple other people we're gonna put a sound system in. Did you see what we did with the lights there? We're TV quality lights now.
Oh, really?
Was that last year?
Yeah, we put all LEDs in, and now we're gonna try to go top-notch sound system.
Nice.
It's kind of amazing. It only gets used 3 times a year. We have an antique pull there in the summer, and then we have a bull riding there. We bull ride right on the tractor pull track. It's kind of neat.
Huh.
And then the Prairie Village Jamboree, which is 4 days of pulling on there. But so I want to put a sound system in there.
Oh, well, we should. Okay, so you guys were Saturday last year. Are you on Saturday?
Yeah, Outlaws are on Saturday.
Okay, but then is it Friday that you guys have like Great Plains or some of the smaller another?
Friday will be Great Plains season championship.
Okay.
Great Plains. And this year we brought the naturally aspirated 2-wheel drive pickups up for the Outlaws.
Yeah.
And they did exactly what we hoped they would do. A bunch of them came and pulled with Great Plains. That's where they almost all started. So we added about 7 quality hooks to that Great Plains pull.
Yeah.
And that became a 2-sled pull. 2 sleds, 1 track. So one would go, and then you time it, and then the next one goes, but it's already hooked up and ready. So
Oh, really?
Holy smoke.
it became a heck of a show too, like 110 hooks for Great Plains Season Championship. And on the Thursday night, 242 hooks of antiques.
Wow.
And then Sunday, we don't start till 11, but we do steel wheel tractors, exhibitor tractors, stock tractors. They're not a suitcase weight on any of them. And then the other side of the track will be garden tractors pulling. So, yeah, we like to pull.
You guys pull some steel wheel tractors?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That'll make you pucker a little bit.
Well, I've been on a sled behind them, and I'm going to tell you what.
Dan goes up in a hurry with his tractor? They go up really fast. You don't put a little kid on a steel wheel tractor.
They're stuck in the ground, but they're also rough.
Yeah.
Those guys were just a little tougher back in the day. Just leave it.
But they don't get as much traction as rubber, but you got to prove that to them.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so you probably have over.
So I enjoy that. Like this last year, I did 23 pulls this year. My most ever I've announced. And 9 of those were antique pulls. You know, I love them. But I love them all. I did 5 outlaw pulls, 4 Heartland, 1 NTPA, and then I did 5 what I call smoker pulls, like the stock farm, but there's nothing stock about a stock farm pull, but stock farm. So I get to see a lot of different pulls.
Yeah. Ooh, here's a question for you.
That's not a question.
Sorry. Yeah, no, that's the wrong one. What? Russ asked, what was your favorite pulling or, announcing moment in pulling?
I don't really know if I've had one yet.
Really?
It'll probably be the first hook this next spring.
Just be excited to get started again.
Yeah, kind of. I haven't heard from any. Hopefully, the Outlaws are usually the first ones to send out a schedule, and then we'll see how I fit on there. Hopefully, they want me to do a few pulls again. This year, I ended up in Nebraska a lot. I learned a little bit about Nebraska this year.
Yeah.
Well, you're one of my favorite announcers, so.
Well, thank you, Dan.
Just you keep the crowd in it. The other thing I like about is your knowledge of the sport, and you're gaining your knowledge of us as far as our equipment and everything else, and that's really what we need to keep our keep the fans involved in it and build knowledge for them as well.
Well, Greg just has to keep hiring me, I guess. Greg and Kurt's got to keep sending me.
We're gonna talk. That's the plan. I plan on seeing you more than 4 times if we can make it work out.
See, the antique pulls up here, I bring my full sound system. Yeah. And Dan, I don't think people always tell me you don't sound like a tractor pull announcer. And I say, thank you. Because when I set up my system, I've got 2 18-inch subwoofers, 4 12-inch 2As, 2 15-inch 2As. I'm setting up 8 speakers with 5,600 watts, and I'm going to play music, and we're going to have fun. And I'm going to cover your whole grounds with sound. But now it's getting to where that's a lot of work for me to set up and tear down all the time. Is what I'm looking at now. It takes an hour to set up.
I don't know. This is probably a Schultz question, but I think we kind of have to watch a little bit what we do copyright stuff like for our live stream. Do you know anything about that, Dale?
Yeah, that's why Palmer this year, that DJ wanted to play music between pulls, and I didn't let him because I said we can't because we're live streamed. unless you have, was it ASCAP or BMI license, you can't do that.
See, that's unfortunate because there is some.
Now, when we go to big fairs and stuff, those fairs have that license, and that as far as I know, that grants us the right.
Oh, really?
Interesting.
So
that's something we will follow up on.
But like Palmer wouldn't be, that's just good old boy out in farm field. That's one of my favorite polls I've ever been to.
You know what, the way that poll come about was awesome because, they got me in touch with Clayton, and Clayton is a man of not a lot of words, man, but he's serious.
He never talked to me. He just waved when he'd go by on the tractor.
Yep.
I thank him for putting on the poll, and he just waved.
He caught me and he goes, Did you really think I was serious? And I said, yeah, one time talking to you, I knew you was serious. He was going to put on a heck of a party with the tractor pull at it. And that's really what it is. They've got a nice, farm pull there. And then,
I happened to mention during the poll that I know he'll do it too. To improve that pole, he needs better lighting.
Yes.
Well, he's already making his own electricity with a generator. He just has to put some more lights up.
I did have to go check on the old 1086 a couple times just to make sure.
Boy, she's running hard.
He specifically asked me to go check it a couple times. So we'd run and go check and make sure it wasn't running hot. And the whole thing just kept trucking right along.
Yeah, and I think that's a pull that's only going to get better.
But when you leave there, don't turn left.
No, don't do that.
Wow.
Did you do that?
My phone told me to turn left. It would be a shortcut to the interstate or to the highway. Wow.
A lot of gravel.
Oh,
I got on the roads. I thought I was in Missouri. It was bad.
Don't go left. What's interesting with Clayton too is he used to put on airboat races on the Loop River.
Really?
And
that
he
was
said,
a big deal.
Yeah, it sounds like before it kind of was just kind of this little local thing, and before it got done, there was people that were traveling from Florida up there.
Yep.
So that dude has done nothing small in his life. He's going to do something. He's aiming.
Well, that was amazing. We need to get Big Iron for a outlaw sponsor because they were really into that poll.
They're phenomenal. But the tent and stuff. There's actually amenities there that we don't see at a lot of big polls.
I know it, and it's just this guy's farm.
Yeah,
and it's been 2 years in a row they've given away free beer both days. So just, I don't know if you need any more advertisements, for spectators. I don't know what else you need.
Well, what I couldn't believe is here's this party at this guy's farm. They're raising money for a swimming pool, and our merch trailer shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Delton showed up the first year, shocked to us. And I tell you what, he made a point to come back year two.
Yeah, he doesn't go where he doesn't sell.
I don't know, but I think he enjoyed it.
But I have fun at every poll I go to. I think the only one this year, Charles City, I went and they had an air-conditioned broadcast announcer's booth. So I thought, oh, cool, I'll be up in the air conditioning. And then it was my worst poll of the year. I hated it. I wasn't part of the crowd. It was like announcing on TV or something. I wasn't part of the crowd.
You were
and
just like
if I get to go back there next year, I'm going to sit out with the crowd. I'm not even going to go up in the booth because I didn't like that.
Yeah.
But then, you ever been to that pool? We pit on the fairways of the golf course. A sand green golf course. All the pullers. It's a full outlaw pull. They line us up on the fairways of the golf course.
Really?
I can't believe they've got to bring in rollers to get rid of all the tracks after we leave. I know that.
Where was this at again?
Charles City.
Iowa
or David City.
David City.
Oh,
Okay.
David City.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
Way down south.
I have not been to that one. I
They
tell you,
parked us on the fairways of the golf course.
there were some good golf course stories from Windsor, Colorado, and Dan might have been part of that mess. Some fellow
Maybe.
South Dakotans.
I wonder if they outgrew that pull with so many houses there now.
I haven't seen the housing market really isn't the strongest in Colorado, so there hasn't been quite the development. I haven't heard if it really got built up, but it was kind of ironic because you just look up right off to the north and west, and there was a PGA style course right there.
Very nice course.
We were pulling, and there's people rolling by in golf carts looking like, what the heck is going on?
Some of the Almers and them, they went out and played, I think.
Oh,
we did.
Yeah.
I did. Did you, Dan?
Yeah. Yeah.
You should have seen
I've
Evan
never played a course that good before.
Evan tried to take the old Mater golf cart up there, and that was a no-go.
No, they were having no part of that.
They didn't like Mater?
No.
They have rules.
Yeah, they didn't let us break any either.
No. Dale,
Nope.
I did not know about this, but apparently they've got GPS on the carts, and they will shut them off before you get to the greens.
Or the rough.
So they have only specific, and they probably knew with a bunch of pullers cruising around that it probably wasn't.
Well, you throw Jason Sweeter and Kyle Stepanek, Mike Masonbrink, me, and Evan. They knew to watch out for us. Yeah, that was a good time.
Yeah.
I may have some blackmail photos and videos both.
It's a shame we don't know how to get those on here.
I'll get it figured out.
Guys, I'm planning on going to the Heartland Banquet.
That's
Good.
awesome.
Good. You just want to see how wild I get, don't you?
What's that?
You just want to see how wild I'll get, don't you?
Yeah.
Good. You can be my babysitter.
Oh, goodness.
No, it'll
Yeah,
be nice.
Dale, have you ever had any inclination or ever wanted to get on the other side of the pulling deal and sit on a tractor or truck?
I antique pulled quite a bit. I'd go to pulls I didn't announce, or else I'd put somebody else on the mic for a little while I'd go pull. I got a Cockshot 40 and a Minneapolis Moline UB sitting right here in front of me in my garage. So,
Oh,
nice.
really? Cool.
and just like all pulling tractors, they're both broke right now, but might have to get the Cockshot fixed this year at Madison. It's a Cockshot year at Prairie Village, so I should get that running.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing about up there at Madison. Every year they have a theme,
A featured. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And usually it's a national or an international show. So
yeah.
this last year was kind of neat though. We did hit and miss motors, stationary motors, and garden tractors, and we got overwhelmed with garden tractors.
Really?
But there was a lot of neat ones.
Oh, I'll bet.
But next year's the international show of the Cockshot tractor. So that means at the pull we got to play the Canadian anthem and all that stuff.
Straight up like going to a hockey game.
There'll be a bunch of Canadians there.
Hey.
Oh, that'll be
Yeah.
cool though.
So, that's something else I'll throw out there too. I see, I watch obviously on Facebook a little bit, but you stay pretty busy through the off season too. I see your baseball games and all kinds of other stuff.
I'm the voice of area sports and KJM radio out of Madison. So tomorrow night I got the first round state football playoffs, Ipswich Tigers at the Howard Tigers. I'll be at Howard doing play-by-play. Wow, play-by-play and color. I'm the one-man show.
Do you argue with yourself or switch sides
a little
when
bit.
you're doing it?
A little bit.
Yeah.
And then I'll do basketball. Early season, I'll do 2 games a week. And then later in the season on the FM, I only usually do one game because we also the home of Dakota State University sports. So if we start doing Dakota State games, and I don't do those very often, so usually I only do one game a week after that. But third week of January, I'm the voice of South Dakota Ice Racing. We race motorcycles, quads, and side-by-sides on ice. 6-week series on Sundays of that. So then that starts. So, yeah, I stay busy.
I can imagine that's probably kind of interesting.
Oh, yeah. It is interesting. We set up, we'll change the track a little bit, make it different lengths, but usually it's going to be, our oval track will be somewhere a little over a third of a mile, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Then the side-by-sides, you got to make a lot bigger track. They have their own track, but they're crazy. Them guys in the UTVs, they hit 70, 80 miles an hour. They'll put 400 screws in each tire. They'll have 1,600 screws in, and they're turbo UTVs. They're incredible.
Really?
Yeah.
Where do they do that at, Dale?
We do it on local lakes here.
Really?
We do it on a lake called Long Lake. It's a housing development there, and we go right out on the lake. And
it's a beer fest.
Hey, Kurt said
interesting.
something that he made you go get a haircut or something.
What's that?
Madison?
Did I?
Yeah, Kurt said he had long hair in Madison. He said you needed to go get a haircut.
I get one every sports season. This one will go to basketball.
Yeah, well, that's around the corner.
Then I do amateur baseball in the spring.
Oh man, Kurt shot down the Canadian national anthem.
Okay.
Go one more comment down though, Greg. I agree.
Yeah.
With Kurt's
Here's
last
something
comment.
here, Dale, and I don't know if you can read on your phone, but this is what the big boss is saying. Dale needs to be the voice of the Heartland division.
I agree.
Not hear me complain.
No.
That would be awesome.
Let's make it happen.
Kurt mentioned it to me a little bit last summer. I don't mind traveling. I like the traveling. That's what I got my motorhome for, to be honest with you.
Okay.
When I retired from teaching, I did 5 years as I was the event staff manager at the Denny Sanford Premier Center in Sioux Falls when it opened. So I had all the ushers and the security guards and stuff. I had them every show. That was my deal. So I did that 5 years, and then I retired from that. I retired at 60, bought my motorhome, and I think, now I'm going to be an outlaw tractor pull announcer. Well, it's taken me a few years to get there.
Yeah.
Darn Ron Stone.
Yeah, that guy, he's got a stranglehold on that,
good.
right?
He is really good.
Oh.
But,
Yeah,
hey,
we make a good pair because he's kind of the technical guy and talking guy, and I'm kind of the yeehaw, look at this stuff, And,
Yeah.
Exactly. You two would work great together, I think.
Yeah,
Yin and yang.
it's different styles.
Yep.
But Bodie Ott was curious how many golf carts are on the grounds at the Prairie Village.
Oh, geez.
That changed last year. They outlawed side-by-sides because they were capable of doing too much too fast. So now it's all golf carts. That's the only thing you can have there. So Bodie got to see the true golf cart thing this year because everybody's got carts now. I don't know, 600, 500. They each pay $20 license fee to be there. It's a good money maker for the grounds.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you guys have seen me at pulls. Of course, I don't walk so good, but I don't go anywhere without my golf cart. I pull it everywhere I go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got to have something so Janelle can ride with me around to the pulls and stuff.
She's trouble.
I'm getting to know like the Heartland guys.
Yes.
And that's a good thing. I know a bunch of the outlaw guys because I'm real good friends with John Narragon and Alan Shellum, and I got to know all the light limited pro guys when they were in that.
Yeah.
because I follow that a little bit, and I love the pullers. You know, it's hopefully sometimes I talk too much on the announcer stand. If I piss one or two off ear, they'll get over it, I guess.
If you can't get through a season with ruffling just a couple feathers, you're doing pretty well. I mean, that's easy stuff. I could do that, no problem.
Yeah, but the pullers are good. Last year I was announcing in Missouri at Bowling Green, Missouri. We're there, and we're co-oping with a local pulling group down there, and they wanted to pull first, and I and Ulmer, we went up there and said, Outlaws always go first. And they just said, okay, Mr. Ulmer. And so Outlaws went first. When I went to bed at 1, the other group was still pulling.
And you were fine with that. Have fun. Good luck.
Yeah, we were long done before that. Thank you, Mr. Ulmer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what was your favorite pull to announce this year?
I always really like West Point.
Mm-hmm.
Great facility.
Yep, it is.
I enjoy that pull because a normal Heartland pull is 30 hooks. So we need some penalties to really have the good show. We either need 1 or 2 outlaw classes or some local color in there. That's the one we don't, because we get enough outlaw guys show up that meet your rules and they pull with you guys. And that gets to be a really good pull. And we end up with a really nice crowd at that pull.
Yeah, we did this year. I mean, it just seemed like it was bigger than the year before. And I think it's just going to keep growing, really.
Wow. And they'll do anything. Like the next day, I stayed for the next day because we had Palmer the day after. So it was an easy drive for me just to stay. And the video guys come in.
Slightly larger announcer stand.
Yeah, the video guys come in and they go, video boards are on one side of the track, sounds on the other side of the track. That's not going to work. How do we hook these two together? And the fair board goes, what do you need? Well, we need a 4-inch pipe that goes underneath the track. You know what the fair board said? Okay. And they dug one in.
Yep.
No, I'll tell you what, Pat and crew are top notch. It's pleasure to work with fair boards like that. I mean, they're not the only one, but those guys.
But there's a 4-inch pipe that goes under that track that you can run video and sound wires in now.
I'll be darned.
And they made that happen in an afternoon so that the Outlaws could pull there. It was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be darned.
That just tells you how much they love pulling in that area, you know?
Yeah.
Dale and Dan, I hate to do this to you, but I do have to run.
Bowling? You can't.
Hey, Greg, don't slam your balls on the wood. Set them down gently.
I only got one, but, No, I got signed up for this. It's amazing how things all have to go on one night, and it's unfortunate, but this is probably a one-session deal. Well, thank you guys. But finish up. Dale, thanks for coming on.
Figured out how to get signed in.
We're looking, and we might get you on here more than once. I'm thrilled to hear that you're coming to the banquet. We're gonna sit down and have some discussions, and Kurt's gonna be there too. So we'll have you cornered.
I see there's already changes happening. It'll polling always changes. Like I saw a video where our points champion in one of the classes got sold and went down the road. Did you see that film of that tractor leaving?
Well, I didn't see that, but boy, to see Rod Pasota's tractor go down the road kind of stung a little bit. That's been a long time local guy.
Yep.
And then I see Hamada's truck is for sale.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll visit with him at the banquet and see what's going on in his head there.
Somebody will jump on that truck. That's a good truck.
Well, I know some of it's got to do with these SFI rules, and we'll just we got to see what happens,
Mm-hmm.
So
don't.
All right, I got to bounce. Thank you so much, Dale. We'll do this again.
You bet, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Beat Dan up a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
See you, Gregory. But well, if you had any place to announce, where would you want to announce? What would be your dream pull?
I would like to announce a Rock Valley.
Would you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, and I've never been to any of these polls. You see them on the internet and you go, yeah, I'd like to go to Toma. I think Bowling Green, I watched their Let's Grow polling show, was it last week or the week before, about the new rules there for the campground and stuff. They're trying to tame that poll down, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess that got a little too wild.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
I know, like I'm at Madison, we got tamed down about 4 years ago. They tamed us down.
Oh, really?
It happens.
Oh, yeah.
But Bowling Green's legendary. That the machines they build just to drive around in. People make fun of Madison's golf carts. Go to Bowling Green, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's interesting. There's more than one show there after the tractor pull. And then there's a real big show back there. Yeah, I've heard some stories and seen some pictures, and I would love to go there once.
And then, of course, the National Farm Machinery Show at Freedom Hall.
Yeah.
But you always see so much griping on the internet about their sound system and stuff. I don't know if I'd enjoy that. Sound systems they're a bad deal. Just ask, outlawpulling.tv. They thought it'd be all okay. We'll set cameras up, and then we'll hook into the polls sound system, and then we'll steal sound from them.
Yep.
Well, they found out that's not so easy.
Yeah.
Sound is hard.
Mm-hmm.
And some of these polls, they pull there once a year. Well, are you going to put a $10,000 sound system in for one poll a year?
Yeah, that's just it.
So their sound systems are usually kind of not so good.
Yeah, and a lot of them are outdated, and probably don't work with what you're using now,
Well, like Madison won't let me play music through their horn speakers. That's why I got to use my own.
Yeah.
And I don't know. So I do it. That's what I do. I don't want to mess their stuff up.
Yeah. What is it about polling that made you want to get into announcing polls and stuff like that?
Well, it's the people. I think it's the people. The competition, in a lot of ways, when we go to polls, no one really cares. When the crowd's watching, they really, in a lot of ways, they don't care who wins.
Yep.
Yay, that guy won, but it's more about the show, the pomp and the circumstance, and then the people. That's why if you go to a tractor pull and don't go into the pits, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You're missing a lot of the reason that we do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of been my one gripe is, as on the Heartland side, we do most of the stuff at county fairs, and there's an upcharge to come into the pits and stuff.
Yeah,
like
some of them are going that way.
Yeah, and for me, I can't speak for everybody else that pulls, but yeah, I do it because I love it. But for me also, it's having that interaction with those people. There's 30 or 40 of us in the pits that get to do something that the 2,000 people in the stands would love to do, and they don't have that opportunity or whatever. And to have them come out in the pits and hang out with us and visit with us, I love that more than I do probably running the tractor. It's just,
I know you're kind of a pit lizard.
Yeah, I am. I remember being a kid and going to pulls with my grandfather or friends when I could drive to pulls myself or whatever, and wanting to be able to go back in the pits and learn, look under the hoods and hopefully get to know a driver and in their equipment. And that's one thing that kind of bothers me a little bit is I wish at these fairs, instead of charging them $10 more, let them come out and spend some time with us and see, everything that we do. I had a kid that wanted to help put fuel in my tractor this year, and I loved that. They wanted to be hands-on, and I wish we could do more and more of that.
Usually when you smokers go down the track the first time, I'll usually crack that you guys are always looking for fuel sponsors. I'll be darned. There's people that go out in the crowd and they'll whip a 20 over to a puller, and say, here, this is for fuel.
Yeah.
Or I announced at least 2 polls this year where the pits were closed. Couldn't go in the pits. Well, how do you sell shirts?
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yep.
How do you hand out your free pens?
Yeah. That's another thing. We sell merchandise, and we're limited to who's in the pits that would want to purchase that, where if we open the pits up, it'd give us that opportunity and help us a little bit. We aren't getting rich on selling our merch. I know that, but every little bit helps.
But I don't think when they come out and visit you in the pits, if they're in your way, you just tell them to get out of the way, right? I mean,
and most of them, excuse me, most of them aren't in your way. I mean, if they see you're doing something, they're jumping out of your way. You're not throwing kids out of the way or asking somebody, hey, could you move or whatever. I mean, everybody that's come out to the pits is usually pretty courteous and mindful of what you're doing and trying to get things ready.
Oh, we're Midwest nice.
Yeah, there you go. But and that's one thing I like about your style of announcing and stuff is you just don't announce here's so-and-so and here's the name of their pickup or tractor or whatever. I mean, you share the knowledge of, what our rules are and everything like that.
I try. I do a lot of homework beforehand. People, you might be surprised how much homework I do.
Well, and I go to some of these polls where, and not even polls, but events where they announce your name and that's it. Here you come, and here's their equipment, and there you go. And that's what I like about you, and that's why I'll would love to have you be our announcer in Heartland, and I'll fight for that tooth and nail because of your knowledge of the sport. And also I can tell you love the sport. You're out in the pits visiting with us. I mean, you have become part of our family too, as our pulling family. And that's what I like. And that only helps everybody, with your knowledge and know and getting to know us personally. You can throw jabs at us or whatever when you're announcing. And that's what I like,
Thank you.
I remember we pulled with the MAPS organization, and the announcer there, he gave me crap because I gave him crap. And the next thing you know, I was known as the most eligible bachelor in tractor pulling, and that stuck. And to me, I just laughed we all laugh about it to this day. We still laugh about it, and that sticks in the crowd's minds, the fans or whatever. And that's what I like. I mean, and your voice resonates throughout the arena that we're pulling in.
Well, yeah, that's what I do. I'm a professional announcer.
Yeah. And that's what I like. we definitely need more of that.
But I always want to, I can be different every show. If the show needs it, I've got, 60 stories I can tell, or jokes if you want. But a lot of times 2 or 3 a night is plenty. But there's been a couple polls, they need a little more than that.
Oh yeah.
If it's dragging.
Yep. Well, and it doesn't take you very long either when you're good at what you do. I mean, you can get a feel of whether it be a crowd or a room or whatever, and know what kind of sense of humor or what, which way you can go to get people involved. And you do that.
Where did we pull this year? It was early in the middle of the racetrack where they had the VIP in the infield.
Was that at Albion?
Albion. Oh my God. They had that infield. Remember they locked the VIPs in that cage.
Yep.
And gave them free beer and free pork roast.
Yep.
And that turned out to be quite a party.
Yeah.
But otherwise the pits were closed. But man, them people on that infield, they had a good time.
Oh yeah. and David Sean Reed, he commented, I can't put the comments up, I'm sorry, but he said you did a great job at Guthrie Center, and they have a great sound system there.
Yes, they do have that whole system is, they put those lights up on their grandstand and just about lit the whole track just with grandstand lights. That was amazing.
Really? Yeah, that's one pull I wish I could have made. I'd really want to go to that.
It was like 4 pulls in one. They had the Eastern Iowa guys went first, and they have a nice group. Corn Star and them tractors, they were cool.
Yeah.
And then we had the full Heartland East show. And then we had 4 Outlaw Pro stocks show up. The 2 out of Ohio, 1 from Kansas, and 1 from Missouri. And I got to be showman. To teach that crowd what a Outlaw Pro stock was pretty cool. And then guys, we totally rebuilt the track for the Heartland and the Pro stocks. That was fun. And then their local pickups were after that. So it was like 4 different shows, and I did them all, and they monetarily took care of me to do them all too. It was a good deal.
Well, good. Yeah, and it sounded like the crowd hung in there. I mean, through the whole show.
Crowd.
Really. Yeah, I wish things were timed a little different. We could have made that one, but.
Well, Dan, you've been doing this for a while. I cannot believe the quality and the number of county fairs there are out there. And I just go from fair to fair to fair, and you go, wow, these are amazing.
Yep. And everyone's got its own little deal that, I mean, sticks in your mind, you know.
Like that Guthrie Center. It's their county fair, and it's after the state fair. So it's not like you're showing livestock there to qualify to go to the state fair or anything.
Yeah.
And it's still huge. And they got livestock everywhere. And they have demo derby, tough truck contest, tractor pull. Can't remember what else. Oh, we had to be careful where we pitted there because there was horse manure everywhere because we followed the rodeo in. And
yeah.
Huge fair. And they're all over, and they're all such good people. You know, they'll do anything to help us. And it's just, I really enjoy going to county fairs.
Oh yeah. And that's what I like about the county fairs too. You know, like you say, they do bend over backwards for you, and they want you there, and they're glad you are there. And yeah, it's there isn't a county fair I'd have any gripes about. The people are always, I don't know, you know, they're more personable, it seems like, at a county fair than a large event.
Well, they're just glad we're there.
Yeah. Yep. No, and the Reardons, they said we love Dale. He did a great job at every pull this year, and you did.
Well, and they go to a lot of pulls. They hook more than you, I think.
Rumor is they're going to Arizona with us, so that'll be good. Yeah, that's the rumor.
They're totally hooked.
Good. That's what we like. We need more of those. So
it's coming.
I think so. It seems to be more and more interest every day, and I think there's enough equipment getting built that I think we're gonna grow. We just hopefully everybody can get their stuff finished that's got projects started.
Well, I got to do some of the West shows. There's vehicles there that I haven't seen yet in the Heartland group. So.
Oh yeah, yep, yeah. That'd kind of be new for you, you know, seeing new equipment and getting to meet some newer pullers that you haven't got to meet before out this direction. So yeah, but well, we've done an hour and 3. We could probably do 3 hours, but I've got a dinner date I need to go to with my boss. So
thank you, Dan.
You bet. Thanks for coming on. Like I say, look forward to seeing you at the banquet. We'll have to sit down and have a cocktail and visit a little bit. And for everybody out there, hopefully next week we'll talk a little bit more about the rule changes that are coming about as Greg's getting some more information on that. But yeah, we'll see y'all next week, and everybody get prepared for the banquet. Should be a good time. So
Thank you, Dan.
You bet. You take care of yourself, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
All right. Good night.
Night.